here's how the whole hem looks once it's hung up. And a general rule in machine knitting is if you don't have to remove waste yarn, don't remove it until you do have to. So I'm leaving the waste yarn on there, and I'm lifting up the machine. Whenever you bring your machine back up, you need to stop and have a look and make sure that your yarn carrier is still in the right position, because it's easy to move that when you drop your ribber bed. I like to just take a latch tool and poke the hem and the waste yarn down in between the beds. And then the next thing that's important is to get the weights onto the knitting. Picture that down between the two beds of the machine, the hem of the hat is now hanging. And you need to put weights on this. You can't just leave this like this or it will not knit. In fact, circular knitting takes more weight than other kinds of ribber knitting. So I like to use these triangle weights to weight it. These weight hangers work well, and what I like to do is I'll reach in between the two beds and I will put a triangle weight hanger as close to the edge of the hem as I can in the front, and I'm going to hang a large ribber weight, one of these, from the triangle weight hanger in the front. I'm also going to hang a second triangle weight hanger to the back. In addition to that, I have these side weight hangers that look like a 7. I'm going to use one on each end of my hat, and I'm going to hang a weight from each end to really pull it down. So now I'm going to stop, reach between the beds, and hang 4 large ribber weights from the hat. My next row, going from right to left, is going to knit the ribber stitches and skip the main bed stitches. To make it easier to knit the ribber stitches and close the hem, I'm pushing all the needles up into hold position, and then I will knit across slowly. Then to knit back and close the main bed part of the hem, I'm going to go ahead and push all of the main bed needles into hold and knit across slowly. Now that was my first 2 rows of part of my hat above the hem. So I'm going to set my row counter to 2. Now I'm going to knit to row counter 68. At row counter 68, I start the shaping for the top of the hat. Start this by turning down the tension dial 1 whole number tighter. So I went from 6 to 5. I'm going to do a full fashion decrease on each end of this ribber row. To do the full fashion decrease, I bring 3 needles up using my triple transfer tool. I push down, transferring the stitches onto the tool instead of the needles, move over by 1 needle, hook all 3 eyelets on 3 needles, so there'll be 2 stitches here and then 1 and 1, and flip down. That moves them, and it knits off a little more easily if I put it in hold. And I do the same thing on the other end. Up, down, move over, and hook them on needles, put them up in hold. Then I knit across from right to left. Then I do a full fashion decrease on each end of the main bed in the same way that I did it on the ribber. Put those in hold and knit back. Now, once I'm on the right hand side, I am going to tighten the tension by a whole number again. I'm going to repeat that process 4 times. after I do it 4 times, I will have decreased by 32 stitches, making my hat considerably narrower. So I'll do that and then come back on camera. Finishing the knitting is just so easy. You just cut the yarn. You can attach the waist yarn to this end of the yarn, just overhand knot. Grab a latch tool and draw the yarn in between the beds. This is just a way to switch from the regular color to the waist yarn. And then do some rows of waist yarn just to take it off the machine securely. It's still set on circular. Cut the waist yarn, hold the knitting so you can catch it, across and down, and the whole thing comes off the machine. Now I'm going to remove the weights and show you how to finish the hat. Here's the hat, finished and ready to sew. The first thing let's do is gather the top of the hat. So I will just snip that knot, holding the waist yarn to the regular yarn. I'm going to thread a needle with the regular yarn, and all I do is run around the top of the hat, poking my needle through every single stitch so that I can gather it up. Once I've threaded my yarn through all the stitches, I just need to get the waist yarn off. With the waist yarn off, I gather up the top of the hat very firmly. After gathering the top of the hat, I'll take a couple of stitches across the gathers just to close up any remaining hole that there is, and then I'll hide the end. Now, to deal with the inside of the hat, flip it inside out. One end has the 2 loose ends of the ravel cord. Go to the opposite side from that and just get a little bit of the ravel cord in your hand, and you can pull it all out. Just draw it through. The waist yarn will come right off. Then there'll be one other end to hide. It will be this end of the yarn. Here's the finished hat. Completely seamless, thick, warm, tapered at the top, and plenty of extra fabric to fold up over the ears.